Hi, welcome to this video. Let's talk a little bit about emotions. I know in the past we've been talking a lot about how a particular illness might be related to an emotion, and then that creates some imbalance in the physical body. So there's always that question of how is it that my emotions that are not physical are affecting my physical body? And well, the answer is actually quite simple. As you probably know, the body is mostly comprised of water, H2O. H2O, it's a molecule that, well, obviously, it's the basics for life. But interesting fact about it is that when the molecule of water is subjected to an electromagnetic pulse, or let's call it instruction in this case, the molecule of water is going to respond in a specific way. Not only that, but it can actually break, and then you no longer have H2O. So at that point, you start to have an H and OH. The H is going to be a positive ion, the OH is going to be a negative ion. The H is not going to stand by itself, it's going to, because of the electromagnetic charge of the positive ion, it's going to help it find an H2O that it's a little bit out of balance, and it's going to become H3O. So anyway, the important thing about this is that an electromagnetic instruction might actually break the molecule of water. That's why we say that stress can make the body more acidic. And more likely, you know that an acidic body is primed for inflammation, for infection, for pain, for dysfunctions. So biomagnetic therapy, in this case specifically biomagnetic code therapy, is designed to reverse engineer the process of the stress that led to an illness, that led to a dysfunction or unbalance. That's kind of like the basic way of explaining how this works. There is a relationship between every thought and every emotion that you've had and what the body's doing with it. The body is physiologically responding to every thought and every emotion. Obviously, the more emotion you have, the more the body's going to respond to it, right? You have a thought with a very light emotional charge, is not going to respond the same way that if I have a very high emotional event. Let's see, there's some kind of animal here that is going to bite me. I'm going to jump out of the chair, I'm going to run. It's a very active, very mechanical way of expressing the emotion. So the point of this is that we should be careful with every thought and every emotion that we have, because they will determine the state of the body. They're not by themselves, obviously. I mean, we have to take into consideration what we're eating, what we're drinking, if we're being exposed to radiation or X or Y. But one of the main important factors of health is going to reside in the thinking process and the feeling process. So anyway, I just kind of wanted to make a short video on explaining how the non-physical is affecting the physical, which, by the way, like I teach in my classes all the time, instructions come from the subtle and they basically densify their way down. So by the time something is physical, it's hard, it's made of important matter. Way before it happened, it was energetic. It was not a material form. Think of a tree. Before it becomes a big old tree, a lot of light has to travel in a very subtle form. Light does not really matter. It's energy. It's a form of energy, right? And it travels at the speed of light and reaches the ground and feeds energy into these seed, into the ground, and then it's transformed the seed into an actual tree. And then you have wood, and then you have the physical aspect, the hard aspect of it. But then if you light a match to it, that wood is going to go back to light, back to where it came from. But anyway, I'm going a little bit off topic, but the point of it is that the subtle will always have an effect on the dense. The subtle being your thoughts, the subtle being the emotions. That which is not physical is having a direct effect on the physical part. So if you're thinking health, think of thoughts. What thoughts are involved in my day-to-day experience. If you're thinking holistic health, you have to take into account the emotions. So yeah, I know I talk a lot about this, but it's because it's important. The quality of your life is going to be directly related to the kind of thoughts and emotions you're having, and the kind of emotions and thoughts that you're having is going to be obviously directly related to the kind of food that you're consuming. And when I say food, I not just mean physical food, I mean energetic food. Who are you around? What is the average quality of life of your friends? Do they always tend towards being happy, joyful, grateful? Or most of the time they're just, sharing crappy, upset news, things like that. I don't know. Be careful with what you're perceiving, what you're eating, in terms of information, news, types of friends that you hang out, anyway, so on and so forth. But that's the important aspect of thoughts and emotions. Yes, it does have a direct effect on your physical body, and a lot of times the illness that you might be experiencing is coming directly from an emotional source. So pay attention to that. Let's move on to the next video. Thank you.